Hey guys, welcome to the Learn Feng Shui podcast, where you'll learn Feng Shui from a classical point of view, taking out the myth and superstition. So if you're interested in learning Feng Shui, Chinese astrology, all things Chinese metaphysics, as well as the superstitions and myths that connect it all, you'll enjoy learning Feng Shui with me. Hey guys, welcome to the Learn Feng Shui podcast, where ancient traditions meet modern living. As we move into the spring equinox time, a time of balance and renewal, probably by the time this episode goes out, we'll be in spring already. Today's episode is about refreshing the energy in your home. We're going to look at just a couple tips for sprucing up your space, just to kind of touch on it a little bit, how to refresh your space and explore the powerful role of seasonal scents, as in smells. And we're going to uncover the folklore behind the rabbit, which is a symbol of fertility and new beginnings that are very on brand with spring. And of course, the month of the rabbit. So let's embrace this energy of spring and get your space ready for the season of growth. Let's get into it. A few tips here to start to reset and align your space for spring. Starting with the very front of your home, the entrance. Remember, the entrance is very powerful in feng shui. It is what's called the mouth of qi. It is called the bright hall or the ming tong. And it's what invites energy into your space. So that front entrance, a lot of times we don't use it. Maybe we use a side entrance or a garage or something like that. So it is important to check that front entrance, maybe use it, start using it occasionally at least, so that energy can come in. And remember, what's right outside your door and what's right inside your door is important. There's an external Ming Tong and an internal Ming Tong. So you're just going to want to clean it, remove clutter. I have an area that the leaves will gather. Of course, we have super windy weather, like I've talked about before, and the leaves will gather right at my front door. So I always just take a leaf blower and shoom, blow those away. You might want to put up a new wreath, with floral decor. Bring in some fresh energy in line with that wood element of spring. Put some bright colors there. And remember that cleaning up that leftover dirt, if you have a window in your front door, cleaning that away helps to clear stagnant energy. I've seen people say that they wash with a orange, maybe they'll put orange essential oils or orange scented cleanser. They do say that at the beginning of each month, you blow cinnamon into your front door, and it's supposed to promote abundance, and cinnamon's associated with money. So it's supposed to help bring your financial prosperity into your home. Create an open space. So make sure you declutter the space and allow the energy to flow in. Remember, this invites new opportunities. And again, it does help bring the energy into your home. Again, with that external Ming Tong, you want to make sure you don't have anything outside that's blocking your door from opening completely, or that you have to go around to get inside. And then when you're finally inside, what you're looking at directly as you look inside is your internal Ming Tong. And you also want that to be cleared away. Maybe put a little space for, store shoes. I added a little storage bench with a little shoe holder and a coat rack in my front closet to just catch the strays, I guess, that come in. So clean that up, declutter it. If you have a coat closet, maybe it's time to clear that out. And of course, bringing in some light to your space. Take advantage of that sunshine. I've seen people say that serotonin's hitting because it's a warm day. You can sit outside for a few minutes and just breathe. And your home feels that way too. So opening windows, opening the blinds, cleaning your blinds, lighter fabrics. Maybe you want to change the color scheme to something that's more bright and airy for the spring season. I know that I like to change up my decor pretty often in my colors. And so I have a rotation of like curtains and decor that I put out, usually Christmas and spring and stuff like that. I have little tables that I'll decorate with little seasonal items, which brings me to my next point, putting up some rabbits. We're going to talk about rabbit folklore, but adding a little bit of Easter decor also helps you honor the spring season and that energy of the rabbit for the month of March. Adding plants and flowers to your space, planting early bulbs can be very effective too. I know I'm tired of seeing my front area very dull because my all the plants that I planted are summer bloomers. They bloom late spring, early summer. And so all I have is grass right now, which is dead. And I added a little pot of hyacinths around my front door. And when we came in from school yesterday, my daughter was like, "Wow, it smells like flowers." I was like, "It's those hyacinth. It's so fragrant." So just adding maybe a little bouquet of tulips or something to your front entrance and around your front can really help kind of activate that wood element and bring that chi in, especially with plants. So it could be a time you add some early bloomers. All right, let's go into the next segment, powerful scents for spring. So bringing in spring through the sense of smell. All right, now coming from the newsletter at learnfengshui.com. This is from the March newsletter. Scents to invigorate, scents to welcome in the spring season. Eucalyptus and peppermint, known for their purifying qualities, these scents are fantastic for cleaning the air, opening sinuses, and promoting a sense of rejuvenation. They're great for spring cleaning and clearing away those spring allergies. I know it's been really dusty here. We're in the part of spring where we just get dirt blowing in. I've seen people take eucalyptus leaves and hang them in their shower. I might try that. Herbal scents, so the ones we just talked about too, but mint, rosemary, and basil, invigorating and refreshing. They are great for stimulating the mind and encouraging clarity, focus, and productivity. Perfect for home offices or creative spaces during the spring. Next is floral scents, rose, jasmine, and lavender. This symbolizes love, beauty, and abundance. And these fragrances nurture your environment and invite a sense of calm and peace. They're ideal for enhancing harmony in living and workspaces. For the added bonus, you could plant some lavender by your front entrance. You can also put dried lavender on a floral wreath or something like that on your door. So you can also bring these smells in that way. I know I found lavender really hard to grow. It doesn't like me. Maybe it's just the harsh climate of West Texas. Not really sure. Next is citrus scents, lemon, lime, orange, and bergamot. So these are uplifting aromas to help clear away winter's stagnant energy, bringing freshness and vitality to your space. And they're perfect for fresh starts and welcoming in new opportunities. And I do believe orange and lemon are supposed to also be a protective scent for your home. Let's go ahead and talk about the folklore of the rabbit. And before we get started on the rabbit in folklore, let's look at what the rabbit means in feng shui and Eastern astrology. The rabbit is linked to the east of your home, the east sector, from about 82.5 to 97.5 degrees east. And it represents new beginnings and some traditions family. It's also a symbol of gentleness, diplomacy, and quiet strength. Of course, it is the month of March and marks the peak of the rabbit's energy. You can place rabbit imagery in the east to encourage renewal and peace. And you should avoid placing a rabbit imagery in the west from 262.5 to 277.5 degrees and that sector of your home because that energy will clash. I found an interesting article on a website called DannyWithLove.com. This was entitled From Folklore to Fine Art, Anthology of the Rabbit. It says here in China, the rabbit was said to be gentle and sensitive as well as a symbol of fertility and abundance. And 2023 was supposed to be a year of peace and prosperity. So, this was actually written in honor of Year of the Rabbit. And so, he talks a little bit about how 2023 was supposed to be a year of peace and prosperity. Some people do like to take the qualities of the animal and apply it to the year. And it says, though there are different species, the rabbit is often confused with the hare. Today's rabbits live on every continent on Earth, excluding Antarctica. They are enjoyed in the wild as pets and are even eaten in many parts of the world, valued for their lean meat. To my surprise, I was served rabbit while studying in Tuscany, Italy. Blessed with abundance, the rabbit carries varying and often contradictory connotations throughout history, dwelling on the earth and sky. The rabbit is both mundane and mythical, instinctual and calculating, quick and cautious, docile and temperamental, pure and indulgent, chaste and sexy, angelic and demonic, ancient and modern. Let's go down the rabbit hole of history and explore the symbolism of this animal. It starts out here with Asia and the Middle East. Throughout Asia, the rabbit is often associated with divinity and rebirth, in addition to the Great Race, which is a tale about how the zodiacs got their place in the forecast. There's a Chinese tale of Yutu, the jade rabbit, which lives with the moon goddess preparing the elixir of immortality with a mortar and pestle. The vision of a rabbit on the moon is likely inspired by pareidolia, as similar tales are often recorded around the world, including Japan. Although here, the lunar usagi, or rabbit, is often pounding mochi, or rice cakes, with a mallet. The animal is celebrated along with the Tsukimi and the autumn festival held in adoration of the beautiful harvest moon. The word tuzi translates to bunnies, originated as a slur for gay men in the late imperial China, possibly because rabbits were thought to be androgynous and capable of asexual reproduction. I've done a podcast on this before. I may revisit it for June for Pride Month. I don't know, but according to the 18th century tale, Hu Tianbo was a soldier slain for his unrequited attraction to a handsome official, but was forgiven and deified and was literally called the rabbit god upon his death. Today, queer men make pilgrimages to pray for blessings at a discreet Taoist temple in New Taipei City, Taiwan. China is also home to one of the oldest motifs of the three hares dating back to the 6th century, and it's located in a Buddhist cave. In a testament to the influence of the Silk Road and an exchange of ideas through commerce, this infinity symbol is found across the Eastern Hemisphere, including an exquisite engraved Iranian or Afghani brass tray. So apparently, the three hares are supposed to be a universal symbol. Throughout the Middle East, hares were considered auspicious animals and believed to protect women from demons while they were impure during their monthly cycle of menstruation. 13th century poet Rumi told the tale of the lion's demise at the hands of the meek rabbit in a moral of self awareness, as well as the perils of projection and narcissism. It goes like this. One day, a mighty lion came upon a colony of rabbits and terrorized the group without ceasing. The humblest of the rabbits accepted that they were not strong enough to defeat him. The rabbit told the lion that he was not the only predator around, but he had competition from another lion, even one more mighty than him. Outraged, the lion demanded that the rabbit take him to meet his foe. And when the rabbit obliged, leading him to a nearby well, the prideful lion didn't recognize the ferocious beast in the water's reflection. And the lion was compelled to attack this ugly creature, falling to his death, drowning in the well. In the ancient world, the un, rabbits, were common in ancient Egypt. In hieroglyphics, their symbol of the hare meant open or being, and they were associated with fertility and rebirth. A surviving Etruscan amber pendant features a figure holding two wild hares, symbolizing the mastery of animals and the ability to provide. Hares were once the fastest animals in Italy, and the Greek philosopher Xenophon noted, "No one has ever seen or will see a hare walking," so they're just always going. Of course, the Aesop fable, The Tortoise and the Hare, is a tale of the agile but overconfident hare losing a race to his more focused competitor because he takes a nap in hopes of humiliating his slow moving opponent. In ancient Rome, such swift rabbits were associated with vitality and often paired with harvested grapes. One mosaic excavated in modern day Turkey features a resting hare nibbling on fruits located within the ruins of the public bath. On the floor of the frigidarium, which it says here's a cold water room, meant to rejuvenate visitors before their exit. So there's mosaic tile on the floor in Turkey. In Europe, ancient Celts considered the rabbit divine as it dwelled within the earth. The severed rabbit's foot is believed to be a good luck charm, an idea which long persisted, and US President Franklin D. Roosevelt was even said to keep one. Romans bred the rabbit for food and fur, although it's unclear who first domesticated the animal. They became popular among pagan witches as familiars or magical companions, and the creature was later adopted as a pet in Victorian England. I always wanted a pet rabbit, but I never really took the steps to try to learn more about that. They're just very cute. As lampooned in the 1975 film Monty Python and the Holy Grail, in the margins of medieval manuscripts, illustrators depicted rabbits vanquishing human foes in an absurd and comical role reversal likely meant to entertain and motivate readers. In 1502, the German painter Albrecht Dürer created what is considered one of the finest works in the Northern Renaissance. Haste, or young hare, in a demonstration of his skill in observation, art, and mastery over nature itself. As rabbits were thought to reproduce asexually, Christians associated the animal with the Virgin Mary, famously depicted in Tiziano's painting, The Madonna of the Rabbit. She holds the head of a miracle baby in one hand and clutches a white bunny with the other, symbolizing her chastity while legitimizing the purity of Jesus. German immigrants arriving in America in the 18th century brought with them ancient pagan traditions of spring renewal, including an egg laying rabbit. As a symbol of rebirth, the rabbit shifted to present Christ's resurrection and redeeming humanity of sin. Originally founded as a German language publication by Austrian born cartoonist Joseph Kepler, a satirical Puck magazine became incredibly influential in the United States. A 1903 cover by Louis Glackens depicts a greedy young girl filling her apron with the Easter Bunny's colored eggs. The rebirth icon was eventually adopted by chocolatiers, and the Swiss company Lindt began production of golden rabbits in 1952. Of course, with Easter coming up, we're seeing that all in the stores right now. Africa and the Americas. So, throughout much of Africa and the Americas, the animal is depicted as quick-witted trickster like the Brer Rabbit, who is able to outsmart his large and strong enemies. In an American retelling, the Brer Rabbit encounters a baby in the middle of the road, and when the baby doesn't respond to the rabbit's greetings, he strikes the figure only to discover the baby is made of tar. The Brer Rabbit becomes trapped in the sticky substance set by the Brer Fox, who was ready to devour the defenseless creature. Drown me, roast me, do whatever you please, begs Brer Rabbit. Only please, Brer Fox, don't throw me in the briar patch. And the sadistic fox flings Brer Rabbit in the briar patch where he was born and bred, escaping to safety. Imported by enslaved Africans, the popularized folklorist Joel Chandler Harris, Brer Rabbit was later declared and adopted as the hero of American Negro slaves by the Harlem Renaissance poet Arna Bontemps as a symbol of resilience and survival. And I do remember, I know that they do not have it on Disney Channel anymore because it is problematic. They don't have it on the Disney app, but I do definitely remember watching A Song of the South back when I was a kid, which featured Uncle Remus and the telling of these stories. Across North America, many indigenous people tell tales of the ancestral god, I hope I say this right, Nanabuzu, who took the form of a rabbit to steal fire from mankind. According to the Algonquin retelling, fire was deemed too dangerous for mere mortals and was sealed away under the protection of a divine guardian and his daughters within the center of the earth. Nanabuzu was distraught to see humans cold and sick and unable to cook food, so he devised a plan. He transformed into a little rabbit and submerged himself into freezing waters before embarking on his journey. The pitiable sight of the wet and shivering bunny inspired the daughters to welcome Nanabuzu to warm himself by the sacred flame while the guardian father slept. When the daughters left the bunny alone to dry, he grabbed one of the burning sticks and fled, easily outrunning the waking guardian and surprised his daughters, returning to bestow humanity with the gift of fire. The Aztecs also celebrated rabbits and a group of what was called 400 rabbits, collectively known as the god of drunkenness, with a harvest ritual including an agave alcohol. Restricted by the elites, anyone who drank too much was said to be as drunk as 400 rabbits, a number synonymous with infinity. The Dogon people in Mali and the Bal people in the Ivory Coast are known for their use of stylized animal masks and ritualistic dances. Inhabiting the wild bush, rabbits represent chaos for the Dogon, and the rabbit masks are typically used in funeral rituals. Ball masks were exclusively worn by men, and only the best dancers are allowed to wear what are called portrait masks. The ball people wear these masks with exquisite costumes to honor living community elders in public celebrations, accompanied by drummers and singers. The portrait masks are created to depict an elder's personality and skill rather than physical likeness. And a rabbit mask denotes great dexterity or agility. And according to the art historian Susan Vogel, the idealized faces are introspective with high foreheads of intellectual enlightenment and downcast eyes. And in pop culture, rabbits are some of the most enduring and beloved animals from Western pop culture, including the White Rabbit from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Peter Rabbit, the Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, Bugs Bunny, Thumper from Bambi, Miffy, haven't heard of that one, and of course, Roger Rabbit. England was at the forefront of trademark protection, where some of their earliest alliterations of commercialized rabbits appear, excluding the endearingly anxious and enchanting white rabbit who lures the titular Alice in Wonderland, as written by Carol Lewis and so memorably illustrated by the cartoonist John Tenniel. Writer and illustrator Beatrix Potter was inspired by her own pet and love of nature to create Peter Rabbit. And A. Milne began making stories of Winnie the Pooh for his son based on his own upbringing and childhood toys, although Owl and Rabbit were produced from Milne's imagination. While in Europe, the rabbit characters were soft and cuddly, the American counterparts are more mischievous and troublesome. Disney and Co. created Oswald the Lucky Rabbit in 1927 to separate their cartoons from the feline obsessed competitors. Oswald proved to be a runaway success, but they ultimately lost him to partner Universal Pictures and redesigned the character as the iconic Mickey Mouse soon after. It's just a fun random fact, but I play the a video game called Disney Dreamlight Valley, and one of the characters in there is Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. You don't really hear about Oswald, he's kind of the underdog there. Anyway, decades later came another influential American rabbit named after co-worker Ben Bugs Hardaway. So Bugs Bunny's a creature of controlled insanity, according to Chuck Jones, who credited fellow animator Tex Avery for the creation of the rabbit. The team only had one self-imposed rule for the animation, which was to maintain audience sympathy, and Bugs Bunny's antics could only be motivated in self-defense. In modern times, rabbits have shed much of their innocence within the last 150 years, reflecting the hedonism of the 20th and 21st centuries. And of course, in 1953, Hugh Hefner published the first ever issue of the controversial Playboy magazine, featuring the unabashed images of nude women. Creative director Art Paul designed the infamous bow tie bunny logo soon after. Like with the women that graced the magazine's centerfolds, Playboy divorced the rabbit from fertility amidst the sexual revolution, successfully framing women's sexualization as liberatory. The late Irish Welsh sculptor Barry Flanagan devoted his entire professional career to the hair, which he employed as an exaggerated mirror of humanity, he explained. I find that the hair is a rich and expressive form that can carry the conventions of the cartoon and the attributes of a human into the animal world. As opposed to the bunnies of yesteryear, Flanagan's elastic hairs possess a more demonic energy. An anthropomorphic caricature, Flanagan recreates Rodin's 1904 masterpiece, The Thinker, with a gaunt hair bridging the divide between man and animal. And lastly, the stainless steel hair by Jeff Koons currently holds a title for most expensive work by a living artist sold at auction, purchased for a staggering $91 million in 2019. Rabbit has become an icon of American excess and narcissism as the perfect antithesis to Michelangelo's David and a natural progression of the lineage sculpture. Chairman of the post-war and contemporary art at Christie's Auction House, Alex Roder declares, "The end is a small bunny." Well, I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. I apologize for last week and the delay in the episode. I actually got really sick. The good news is I think I found out what was causing my long-term illness and my autoimmune symptoms that I have been having. And so although, of course, you don't want to get sick, it's good for things to come out into the open, which I was thinking back and I was like, you know what? The zodiac sign of snake has that energy that's called hidden corpse this year. And it indicates secrets being revealed. And I was like, oh my gosh, my hidden illness I had was revealed. And so remember, some of these energies we can use. It might seem bad, but we can use it for the good. So hopefully this will take care of any future autoimmune flare-ups that I have. I don't want to experience those anymore. So fingers crossed for that. So that just brings me to a side note. If you have been sick this year, please go to the doctor and have them run all the tests, even ones you don't think they need to be running. So there's that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode and the sense of spring, bring a little bit of that spring energy into your home. And of course, that folklore of the rabbit. So I'll catch you guys next week for April energy update. I can't believe we're rounding out the first 4 months of the year, that first quarter of the year already. I'll catch you guys then.
For a free energy mapping of your floor plan, please check the link in the show notes. To support today's podcast, go to learnfengshui.com, sign up for emails, leave a review, and share with your family and friends.